In the immortal words of Austin Powers,
I don't know.
allow myself to introduce myself. My name is Bill. I am the father of the bride, not to be confused with Bill, the father of the groom. I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome everybody.
No, don't do that.
Thank you all for being here, especially during these rather challenging times. I think it's an extra special effort that those of you who showed up chose to show up. But I'd also like to pay a special thanks to those who weren't able to attend today. I know they're with us in their hearts, and I know we all feel their presence. So here's to them as well. Lastly, I'd like to thank Heather and Bill for this beautiful COVID-friendly spread. I think it's wonderful. The love and the effort that you put into this is sure to add a sparkle to this day, for sure. Every wedding's special, of course, but to see your own daughter get married is truly special. Our walk down the aisle this afternoon is something that I'll never forget. Always will cherish that. And I know this wasn't the original plan for what you wanted for a wedding, but I think for those of us who are here, this small little crowd, I think it's just extra special, the love that's certainly apparent and that we all feel. I know most of you probably know Beth from her older years, but I'd like to share some things about Beth from before, when most of you knew her. So this is back when we were living in New Jersey, back in the old days. So Beth was always a good student. I don't think we need to talk too much about that. We never had to harp on her to do any kind of work. Everything always got done. That was great. So that's enough with academics. Let's move on to more important things like sports. So from a very young age, Beth took a liking to all sorts of sports. She was involved in field hockey, volleyball, tennis, swimming, just to name a few of them. But I think the first thing that I always remember with sports was Newton's swim team. So Beth and Catherine and the family, we lived in a very rural area in New Jersey where every summer they had swim team, and all of the towns in the area had swim teams, and you either swam in a lake, or if you were in one of the wealthier towns, you swam in a pool. And the thing that we instantly noticed, which was the antithesis of every other kid that swam, was that Catherine and Beth and Catherine, swam faster in the lakes than the pools. And for some reason, every other kid swam faster in the pools than the lake. So we accosted them one day and said, what's the deal here? And the answer was, well, there's so many gross things in a lake, like weeds and fish and snapping turtles. Our priority is to get out of there. So I just, enough said. Keep up the good work.
Staying away from critters.
I think there's also many of you who don't know that Beth is a martial artist. Beth was one of the youngest children at the Black Dragon Karate Dojo to achieve the rank of purple belt, which is just 2 clicks below black belt. And I remember my most vivid memory is Beth in tears at her first tournament, because there was nobody who was able to achieve that rank that quickly in her age bracket, that she had no one to fight. So in order to try and quell the tears, the organizers of the tournament ran around and they looked for somebody, and one of the older kids, to come fight her. But Beth still took home the first place trophy. And I have to admit, I do take a lot of credit for this as the inventor of Karate Feast, which was usually an evening of karate training and junk food eating when Mom was working nights, and it was primarily done so I didn't have to make dinner. But I think the key thing too is it also allowed Beth the opportunity to sneak off into the kitchen and eat butter, which is probably one of her most favorite. And I didn't even know that until she was probably about 20.
I would come home from work and like, what are these finger marks in the butter? And he's like, what are you talking about?
tennis. Tennis obviously is for those of you who don't know us, tennis is the family sport, except for one child who will remain nameless, but it's never too late. Beth was the first of our children to have her name up in lights on the honor board at the Ripfield tennis courts for qualifying for the state tournament. But even more important is that Beth is probably Beth I know is the first and only tennis player to ever receive a concussion in the line of play. And I think that's probably a record that will stand, because tennis, as you know, is not a contact sport. And I don't think that record will ever be broken. But unfortunately, that doesn't go up on the honor board, does it? Lastly, it wasn't all sports. I think many of you know that Beth has always had a love for music. Beth, I would encourage you, if just still play violin. It's something that is near and dear to my heart. I know it's in your heart. I know it's in Mom's heart. And Michael, I know you'd love to hear that wonderful music. But as a parent, I think the biggest thing about music is watching your child grow. And the way I describe it is, initially you turn the TV up so you don't have to hear the screeching. But then you get to a point where you actually turn the TV off, because what you're hearing coming out of the room is better than any kind of crap that you can hear on the television. So all I can say is listening to the amazing music throughout the years has always been something that I truly cherish, which has recently been replaced by heavy metal, which I also cherish. But enough of the past. I mean, Beth, you've grown into a truly exceptional woman. Kindness and compassion are at your core, no matter how cutthroat life around you is. Also, the quirky sense of humor, which is, I think, why we relate on such a good level. But I think these are probably things that Michael's noticed in you as well. And, speaking of Michael, I somewhat remember, and I think Catherine mentioned this in her speech, I couldn't remember was after your first or second date where you basically came home and said, I'm going to end up marrying this guy, which I immediately dismissed as rubbish. And that was until we went out to dinner with you two guys at Sabai Tong. And sitting there and, not only because Michael shared my affinity for various types of heavy metal, but rock on. Michael was instantly likable, he was polite, he was engaging, he was intelligent, well-spoken, funny, and most importantly, he really seemed to enjoy his Beth's company, and I really saw that as being reciprocated. And I remember on the drive home thinking to myself, could this be? Well, here we are. Michael, welcome to our family. And although I know you'll certainly be seated at the bottom of the family tennis rankings, I am more than happy that you are going to bring so much more than that to this family. And I've already seen how much you love Beth, and I see that reciprocated, and I know you guys will always be there for each other every step of the way. I guess I'm supposed to give advice, so not that I'm anyone you should be taking advice from, but I would say stay best friends, don't sweat the small stuff, do lots of things together, and try and laugh every day. I wish you both much love and happiness in the future in your new married life together. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise. Raise your glasses. Michael and Beth, bride and groom. Ostrovia, as my grandfather would say. Yeah, you gotta take it down. Yeah. I didn't get into the nicknames, by the way. So. Do not later.
All right, so to follow that, I just wanted to say thank you all for coming, as Bill had said as well. I know that the times are a little different, but you all made it work, so thank you. There's no better reason to come together and celebrate than to celebrate love. So here we are, celebrating love. Thank you, Bill and Heather, for such a lovely, beautiful event. The love that you have for Beth and Michael is apparent in every detail that you have here. It's just incredible. So thank you for that. I want to turn my attention to those who have loved Beth and Michael through their years, and that would be the people who stood by them today. So the lovely bridesmaids. You have all been there for my daughter, and I've watched it. Adrian, you are now the new sister for Beth. We now have another daughter in a way. Beth has a new sister, and I'll never forget the day she first met you. She called me the next day and said, Mom, I met Michael's sister. She's amazing. We get along so well, and I just love her, and I know I have a new friend. And now she has a new sister. How amazing is that? So, Mel, you come along because you are the love of Alex's life, and Alex is Michael's best friend. So you are the bonus friend for Beth. What makes that even better is that Beth has gotten to know you and now loves you because you're Mel. So how beautiful. Incredible. Erin and Rachel, you're the friends that were there with Beth in college, and then stepping into that working world right after college. Those are really tricky, hard times. You know, you feel so sure when you're in school sometimes, and then you're into that adult world, and your footing gets a little bit shaky. You were both there for Beth when her footing was a little bit shaky, and you reminded her of who she was, and you told her to listen to her heart and be true to that. So thank you for that. Your love and friendship has meant so much to her. So much to her. Brooke, you have been a part of our life for a very long time. The years that you and Beth shared together as high school friends, playing tennis, John Mayer crushes, just so many things that you have shared. You'll find as the years go on that the friendships that are built in your younger years are very unique and different, and they're so sustainable. And as you go through life, you're going to look back and say, oh, that's my childhood friend. A little bit different. Not better, just different. And then Catherine, the first friend ever, the sister. You've seen that through the things that no one else here has, and you have always been by her side. And you guys are sisters that it's not always been easy. You are so different from each other. It's amazing to me. But you've worked through that difference, and then obviously today with your speech, Catherine, the love that you have for each other and celebrating your differences. And you two, in a way, as Michael and Beth are making each other complete, as sisters, you kind of, in a way, complete each other as in that sister part.
Yin and yang.
And for those of you who stood with Michael today, Alex, I've gotten to meet you a few times, and just those brief moments, I've understood why you're one of Michael's closest friends. Hartman, we've chatted just a little bit, and the two Ethans, I got to meet you briefly today. I hope that after COVID, we can get to know each other a little bit more. And then Shane, of course, I know you better than all of them. But I know that you've been there for Michael, and just hearing Alex's speech of those times spent in the basement, all of those times together forming that love and that friendship has made Michael who he is. And that's why we are celebrating all of you today, because your love and your friendship for Beth and Michael has created them to be the people that they are right now. And because of that, they have found each other. Now to Beth and Michael. You two are both amazing. My lovely daughter, it has been incredible to watch you grow and become the incredible woman that you are. Keep enjoying life. Your heart and your brain speaks to your soul all the time. Listen to it and trust it. You have beautiful things ahead of you. And Michael, I can't even say to you the love that I have for you, and how thankful and grateful we are that you have found each other. You are an amazing human being. I didn't know my heart could crack open enough again to let another child in, but it has. You're in here deep. I love you with all my heart. The two of you together have been blessed. It's a beautiful love that you share. It's very unique. It's very beautiful. I believe that God's hand has been in bringing you two together with all of my heart. And as my mother always said, there are marriages, but then there are marriages made in heaven. I believe your marriage is a marriage made in heaven. So, to the bridegroom, Beth and Michael, and to love, because love is what brought us all here today, and all of you are a huge part of that. So thank you all for that.